In this episode, we speak with Mark Haller, Managing Director and Founding Principal of Sumeru Equity Partners, a technology-focused growth equity firm investing in leading enterprise software companies. Sumeru has invested more than $3 billion across more than 50 platform and add-on investments, spanning enterprise and vertical SaaS, data analytics, education technology, infrastructure software, and cybersecurity. Mark has been with the firm since 2012 and leads investments in human capital management, supply chain, and e-commerce software. He brings extensive experience in technology and growth investing, having started his career in investment banking at Goldman Sachs. I'm your host, RJ Lumba. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked the episode, click to follow.
RJ Lumba is the managing partner of GrowthCap and the executive chairman of Market Insight Media. He is the host of Growth Investor, a podcast featuring today's best investors, executives, and founders. In the minutes ahead, we'll uncover insights and strategies for accelerating growth and succeeding in business.
Mark, great to chat with you today. Thanks for joining.
Hey, RJ, thanks again for having me today. I'm really excited for the discussion.
Yeah, and as we were chatting right before we hit record here, we have a mutual friend in common, your colleague at Sumeru, Mike McLaughlin. So shout out to Mike. He's obviously has been a great addition to you guys, being that you are in the growth space and he helps on that growth side to the equation. But maybe to kick off, and for the benefit of our audience, catch us up on Sumeru and how it came to be. Maybe a lot of folks may not know the history, which goes back to Silver Lake.
Yeah, great. Well, on our background, we started, and our team was effectively formed within Silver Lake as the mid-market fund strategy there. And when it came to raise what we call Fund 2 in 2014, 2015, we had a bit of that entrepreneurial itch to go build our own firm. And look, I have so much great things to say about my time at Silver Lake. They're such a terrific firm in large cap tech and still very good friends there. It was super amicable, but we spun out to go control our own destiny and build out Sumeru. And what's special about this year is we just had our 10-year anniversary as an independent fund. We celebrated that all together. And what was really exciting back then is we were a small team of 10 professionals, and it's been really rewarding to see that grow to now 40 plus professionals. We have an East Coast office. We've invested in 40 plus software companies now, and we're investing out of Sumeru 4, which is a $1.3 billion fund.
Excellent. It's interesting having had kind of a front row seat to spin-outs, just hearing when they're kind of brewing and how they actually come to fruition. How did you select the people you would take with you on this new journey at the time? I don't want to delve too deep into the weeds, but did you just find here's the set of people we really enjoy working together and we think we could build a great firm? How did that all happen?
The benefit of how the fund was set up at Silver Lake is we were a dedicated team within that. Of course, during that transition, it's not for everybody. It's obviously has its own set of risks around raising a separate fund and all that. But I think the senior team, we all were interested in taking that kind of jump and hadn't looked back.
Was it as seamless as you would want it to be when you kind of transitioned, to this new firm in terms of getting everything up to speed, starting to get deals under the belt and under the new umbrella? How did that go about?
So I've got a lot of fun memories, 2 jobs at once, right? Because at one point you're working on sourcing transactions, working on deals. At the other side, the thing you don't really think about as part of a large established fund is you need to go set up your own systems. Hey, we need to go build out a CRM system. How do we go talk to industry experts? And so there was a lot of, I'd say, in that first couple of years, build out of those type of things. We shared what I described as the back office with Silver Lake. And so we had to fully establish that. The benefit, though, is because we had sourced our own deals, ran our own value creation strategies, things like that, and our Silver Lake fund, that was fairly seamless. But the things you don't think about to actually run your business day to day, those were all brand new, and things that I didn't even work on. We need an ERP system that sometimes we get to work on now with our own entrepreneurs and management teams.
Mm-hmm. And you work on specifically, I think, human capital management, supply chain, e-commerce. Has that continued to be your focus?
So back in the spin of days when we were just 10, it was kind of like, who has time to go work on this deal in front of us? We were a pretty small, constrained team in terms of what we could run at. And what's great now about our fund is that we've built out dedicated sourcing pods together where we've built real expertise, got great pattern recognition around these markets. And so we've spent a lot of time around each of these verticals. You mentioned some of the industries I've spent more time in, and that's been a result of a lot of the deals and transactions I've been a part of, is I've been able to build out that pattern recognition and experience around these markets, and same thing across other aspects of vertical infrastructure and horizontal software.
Mhm. One aspect that everyone's touching on these days is AI and how you view it. People view it differently, and whether or not it's going to come into play now, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, and how it affects the deal opportunities you look at, how it affects the portfolio companies that you currently have. Can you give us a sense for how you think about AI within this growth equity investment landscape?
It's a great question. It's something we talk about all the time at Sumeru and with our portfolio companies. I think that the benefit of being a software specialist fund of this is all we do. And so we've been focused on this since the early days of Gen AI. My own personal view is I think this could be one of the most exciting times to invest in software since the early days of mobile, iPhone, iPad, or the cloud shift. And we're seeing how Gen AI is transforming how these companies operate. So at Sumeru, as an example, all of our portfolio companies are using Gen AI tools to drive productivity and efficiency. So think about, hey, how do I build out marketing content in a way I couldn't do 5 years ago? We're seeing that. I'm sure you know all about Cursor and Copilot and all the coding tools. All of our companies are embracing that type of technology. I'm happy to talk more about our growth team. Mike's on that. But we spent a lot of time with our companies doing a lot of knowledge sharing around this. But what I'm most excited about, RJ, is how this could translate into customer value in our companies. So just as one example, I led a take private, a company called Q4 last year in the IR software space. And we released an agentic AI solution on the market earlier this year. And we're now seeing public companies use the software to help prepare earnings calls, analyze peer sentiment. There's tons of data in public markets. How do I surface that into really tangible points of insights and analytics? And these were tasks that were very time intensive, very cumbersome before. And we're seeing that be a huge leap in efficiency and how IR teams, CFOs operate day to day. And so, of course, there are risks abound in this technology shift we're seeing, but I think it's really exciting and motivating. And I think one of the great things about being a software specialist fund in this current point in time.
Interesting. So IR, and these are teams within, I would presume, mostly publicly traded companies that have this operation of dealing with their set of investors, both existing and prospective, and needing to communicate effectively with them based on facts, statistics, other information related to maybe not only their company, but maybe the markets that they're in. The tools that they are employing, does that help their teams become more effective at that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So our business has, I think it's about a 50% of the S&P 500 as customers. We have 2,600 public companies, primarily in North America and Europe. And the product is called Q. We have features within that like earnings copilot, whereby, hey, every quarter I have to do an earnings call to the street. And so, hey, how do I load all of that into our LLM powered product? How do I put MNPI into that where you might not feel comfortable about doing that? So that's one example where that's helping prepare these earnings calls. Hey, what is the Goldman research analyst asking all my peers about? How do I get prepped for that in a way that, just saves a ton of time, drives efficiencies? But there's also really interesting areas like in our CRM product. You don't need a complex Salesforce implementation and IR in just natural language. Hey, I met with XYZ investors today. How do I log that? How do I get analytics back from it? And how do I pull all the private data that I have alongside the public data in ways that I can look like a hero to the CFO and to the CEO and things like that? So I think that's super exciting right now.
Excellent. Let's move into scaling companies, something that your firm is very good at and has a team that helps you do that. And every firm is different on how they employ operations folks. But give us a flavor of how you go about helping your portfolio companies scale.
Yeah, so we're typically working with growth stage companies, just as background. They're typically, call it 20 to 75 million of revenue. When we get involved, proven product market fit, we're not taking venture risk, but are in a scaling stage. And they're often saying, hey, how do I get from where I am today to 100 to 150 million plus of revenue? And that could very well be a different skill set. There's a lot of common mistakes along the way. And what are the best practices and how do we deliver that scaling partnership? That's often what we get involved with and excited about is building a scaling partnership, then alignment with CEOs, founders, and management teams to go scale. And so we have a co-sponsorship model at Sumeru. So every deal is co-led by an investment lead, someone like myself, partnered with a growth team lead. And so that's folks like the Mikes of the world, whereby they're senior executives. We have multiple CEOs who actually ran portfolio companies for us who came back and have been now on both sides of the table. They know what it feels like to be a CEO's shoes. As you know, it can be a lonely position sometimes to be a CEO. And so having that scaling partnership, I think, is really impactful. And so what we do when we get involved, we say, hey, what are the handful of key organic growth levers we want to partner on to go build value together? So that typically has common themes. That could be, I need to go scale out and go to market. I got here on just doing inside sales. I need to add enterprise or demand gen. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is typically product of, hey, I have perhaps one product. How do I go from one product to multi-product? How can you help with that? And then three would be inorganic, what I describe as a classic buy and build shop, but typically our acquisitions are focused on product extensions, geographic expansion to really scale the top line of the business.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You went to University of Illinois, fantastic school. A lot of famous tech people came from that school. Then you go on to Goldman and then I believe Silver Lake after that. But yeah, give us a little bit about your background. And did you always think you'd end up in private equity?
Certainly not. I don't think I knew what private equity was until I was maybe a junior in college. But just to go backwards a little bit, I'm from outside Chicago. I love deep dish pizza and corn and flatland, just like any good Midwesterner does. And I went to the University of Illinois down in Champaign-Urbana, as you noted, go Illinois. And from there, I thought I wanted to actually go into accounting and tax. Then I started to pivot in sophomore year of college. I added a finance degree as well and started to go down that finance track. And then I started looking, figure out what investment banking was. I read the Vault Guide. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but I remember reading that back in the day, and that kind of got me going down the path. And I was looking for a summer internship job in 08, 09, which I'm sure, as you remember, was a fun time to look for an investment banking job. I think 3 firms were looking for folks in investment banking back then at Illinois. And I think through a lot of work and probably a good amount of luck as well, I landed at Goldman in the industrials group. Did the summer and then did that for 2 years. Great place to start a career and build a career. But my passion was tech. My dad was a software engineer, and I was excited to make it out to Silver Lake and was excited to be part of the team here from day one of building a firm. And as I said, build out CRM systems and whatnot and see the firm be successful and build out the firm to what it is today.
Yeah, firm building, I find it fascinating because there's as many that succeed, there are many more that either flatline or don't make it. What do you think is special about the culture at Sumeru?
Yeah, so from a cultural perspective, I think such a great point you made because I think that how teams operate and how we can interact together is a really important ingredient of success. And what I love here is our senior team. We've worked together now for a really long period of time, and we're really collaborative. There's no pride of ownership. There's no monopoly on great ideas here at Sumeru. And I think that allows us to be really open together and make good decisions. Again, we're a pretty concentrated investor. We like to make high conviction investments, and being able to work together and work on a deal where I want some help from a Mike, or hey, I'm going out to dinner with a prospective CEO, bring in a couple other people. Again, there's no pride of ownership here. What is my win is the firm's win, and vice versa. And that's been a great part of what we've been able to build here at Sumeru.
And it seems there's another element that's like really interesting in that you are supportive of bringing up other folks into the industry, and you've got programs. I don't know if it's an internship or it's like an early entrant analyst type, but can you tell us a little bit about what you do on that front?
Yeah, so we do have analysts that we hire directly out of school that go on to associate. We also hire from investment banking paths and consultant paths into the associate program that get promoted on and on. And that's actually been one of the most rewarding parts of my career. Is I, of course, needed a lot of help to make it to where I am today from a lot of people. And it's been really rewarding for me to pay that forward. I would say that getting to where I am today from Illinois, trying to do accounting to private equity, I've really tried to pay that back. And I love to spend time with our junior investors here. How do I mentor them? I remember leaving the office yesterday, walking past everybody, spent some extra time. And I love, seeing our principal team as an example. Most of our principals started as associates here, and being able to work with them day to day, see them build their own careers, their own successful deals is just super rewarding. And I can't say how happy I am to see some of their own successes as they build that out.
Excellent. We're going to head into the tail end of the conversation, but would love to hear any kind of like recent, maybe milestones or things that are on the, near-term horizon for Sumeru that we could highlight.
Yeah. So as a fund, as I said, we're really excited. We just celebrated 10 years as an independent fund. We're excited to get together with all of our LPs next month. So we're in annual meeting prep time. And, back to the scaling point, we have our upcoming CEO and CFO forums. We actually, across not just those functional areas, we get together across all functional areas with functional summits, sales, marketing, HR, and we love to drive that knowledge sharing where all of our companies, if they have a challenge, they've typically faced that challenge across the portfolio multiple times. And so we're excited to get together with everybody here coming up next month, and thrilled for that.
Excellent. And as a little plug for one of your team members, Michael McLaughlin, he did complete the Jackson Hole Classic, which is something we host every summer, and that entailed a climb of 2,800 feet. He is a fit person with great stamina. So just a little plug for Mike.
On that point, if I could interrupt you, I remember earlier this summer, I was mountain biking with Mike, and I will tell you my heart rate was much higher than I wanted it to be. It's hard to keep up with Mike.
100% agree. Okay, last two questions. One is, can you tell us about a person who has had a profound influence on you?
It's a really hard question to answer because I've been fortunate to work with a lot of great people and be impacted by a lot of folks during my life and professional life. But if I had to pick one, it would be going back to my father, software engineer, exposed me to tech early. We built computers together when I was a kid. We were tinker with programming. And I think he did really spark that love for technology and drive me to where I am today. And I also really value kind of the Midwestern values that we had growing up, from humility, transparency, honesty. And I've carried that forward to my own family and to the professional life and working with people here today.
Last question. Can you tell us about a charity, cause, or other endeavor that you're passionate about?
Yeah, so if I could hit two quickly. So unfortunately, my family was impacted by brain cancer. And so that led our family to a passion to support this research. It's a less research area and resource area within the broader cancer domain. So our family has supported the National Brain Tumor Society, which is advancing treatments and awareness in this category. And the second thing I'd highlight is a family we've been involved with, CASA in San Mateo here locally. CASA pairs children in foster care with volunteers who advocate for them. So every year, my wife and I, we work with our own kids to do things like choose and donate presents for foster kids. And I find that to be a great teachable moment to help our own children understand giving back and supporting others, and has been a great cause for us.
That's wonderful. Well, Mark, I want to thank you again for taking the time to chat with us today. It's been a great conversation.
Really enjoyed it, RJ, and thanks again.